Hello, my loves. We are going to do something different on today's episode of With Love. What you're about to hear, this sounds so very documentary-ish, but it kind of is. This is an event I had with our community focused on all of the recent changes in our business. This is an event in terms of turning my business model that I've had for about 7 years inside out. You're going to hear a discussion between myself and our heart-centered leadership community and lots of the public who participated in our open house event, where I'm describing why and how I made one of the most heart-centered business moves that I've ever made. I'm going to pull back the curtain on how I moved into greater alignment, created some changes in the business model, new team organization, saved a lot of money overnight. And this is really inner circle, fly on the wall, open the kimono kind of sharing. And really, it's a story about everything, and I do mean everything, changing for the better. I hope you enjoy the unfolding of all the lessons I've had over the last 3 months. There's more to come. Welcome to this episode of our open house. I would love to introduce you to two of our new leaders. Emma Tate has been with me since the beginning of the new chapter. So Emma, I was a full-hearted yes for Emma just on resume alone. And then you add in that she's a mama, she's in Canada, we can hang out together. Emma helped build the empires of Yoga Girl and Mark Groves from Create the Love, and was doing coaching with Amy Porterfield's crew, and just stellar, sparkling. Emma is in the role of, it's more than a role, it's an embodiment of our business and creative director. And she is, we were meeting this morning with, you'll hear more about this, but we have a fractional CFO now on board. And she kept saying, well, Danielle's vision. And I just kept saying, actually, it's our vision now. Yeah. So Emma, how would you like to open?
Hi, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here. How I will open is just to say thank you for everyone for being here. And it's so beautiful to see all of the hearts that are interested in doing things a different way and seeing things a different way. I think that's really what I do on the team. And that's what I want to keep doing for the community, is facilitating those conversations between ourselves and our higher selves, ourselves and our families, ourselves and our lives and our businesses, and helping us all come into right relationship with what our visions are for our lives, and how do we really express our gifts and not be held back by old ways of doing things, not be held back by hustle culture, really having those conversations that help us step into a new paradigm of leadership in our lives and our businesses and in everything that we touch. So that's what I do for the team and in the world, and for my coaching clients. And that's what I want to do with all of us here going forwards in leadership and in Mastermind. Yeah, that pretty much covers it.
That's everything.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dana Tartal. Dana, also Canadian. Dana comes from a whole different realm of society called corporate government business. So she has like a different language, different know-how. And Dana brings that kind of groundedness and a vocabulary that is helping us navigate between all of us being, I want to alleviate suffering and amplify joy. And we want to bring this to corporate. And you are helping us do that. Yeah.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. That's better than any introduction I ever got in corporate. I'm recovering from corporate. And I'm just so excited to be here as the Heart-Centered Leadership Program Manager. And I'm going to be looking to co-create with all of you what our Mastermind and the Heart-Centered Leadership Program and potential future curriculum programs end up looking like, to make sure it's meeting your needs and that we can change the world.
Okay, let me dial you back in time for a bit. So my birthday is May 25th, and I woke up this year and thought, I don't want to live and work this way anymore. And I'd fallen into a pretty classic trap of working for my business instead of the business working for me. And by that, I mean, it's not about everybody needs to be meeting my needs as a leader. It's like, if I'm not living a heart-centered, wellness-focused lifestyle, I cannot be of the most powerful service that I want to be. And so it got down to I hadn't read a business book in almost like 7 years. And then I came across Dan Sullivan's latest book called 10X is Easier Than 2X. It's become a required reading for everybody on the bus. And please go support Dan's work, but I'll give it to you in a nutshell, which is you get really clear on the 80% of things that aren't pointed in the direction that you want them to go. Like, is what you're doing now what you want to be doing 3 years from now? 3 years, I think, is a sweet spot. 5 years starts to feel a little ridiculous with how changeable life is and how it all works. This is the reason why 10X is easier than 2X. The book is worth getting, is because it's full of case studies of people who made courageous decisions to walk away from that 80% of stuff they were doing, even though it might have been profitable and lucrative and they would have been known for it and was core to their brand. They make the leap into the 20%. I think, this is in keeping with Pareto's principle, 80-20 rule, the 20% that makes all the difference. But here's the extra oomph with this is that you get clear on what it is that is your zone of genius, where you're going to have the most impact, ideally where you're going to be most prosperous and profitable, and you go all in. You double down. And that's what I decided to do. Happy birthday to me. When you go 10X, there will be disruption, the best kind of disruption. And we were in a natural place. Some people were coming and going from the team in mode of like going back to school. Some people weren't necessarily on board with, I'm going to change it all up and I want to be eccentric creative now. And it all just landed beautifully. And we have essentially taken the business. So I've been at this a decade now, sweet spot of a decade. And it is very much like a startup. It's high enthusiasm. Agility is everybody's superpower right now. It's a gorgeous chaos. If you look at fractals that look chaotic, you drill down deep enough and they become cohesive. There's a pattern in all fractals. So there's a pattern. There's a genius in all of the chaos that we're in. And Emma has been a game changer. Dana's a game changer. Renee's on the team. We had a team meeting the other day, finally, with all of us, one place. And I said, Renee, can you please let the team know how long you have been here? And Renee's answer was 3.5 months. I was like, everybody, Renee is our longest standing team member in this call. So we have built the team up by 12 plus people. And I want to run you through the team organization because we actually get a lot of questions of like, who's on your team and what do they do? What should I be looking at if I want to scale and all these things? So I'll give you the organizational structure. And then I want to tell you about why I've made a move to dissolve our licensing model and what we believe to be a more heart-centered way to do business. So as I mentioned earlier, Emma is, let me back up. Actually, there's me. And I should be focused on doing what only I can do. Only I can be Danielle on podcasts and publicly and in writing and in gigs. So the lion's share of my effort should go into just those things. I'm not the best person to be looking at finance all the time or managing the team or all these other things to run a business. I'm going to be I can only be me. I have been professionally partnered with an energy healer for 8 years. VS and I create all of the metaphysical esoteric things that we put out to the world, all the meditations, visualizations, heart-centered altar kit, some of the themes for the heart-centered classes. And she is on payroll and she's very much part of the team, sort of in a mysterious way. But if the team needs her for some energy healing or a question or managing some fear, V is there for us. Emma is our business and creative director. Emma, do you want to talk for a minute about what that means?
Yeah, sure. So in some of the most traditional sense that you would expect under the title business and creative director, I have my hands in the big strategy for the company and how that trickles down to the teams, who's in charge of the projects, what are their goals, what are their timelines, what are their challenges, who needs to talk to who, and what support systems do they need to put in place in order to meet their goals. And then in a more spiritual or esoteric sense, my role as creative and business director is, what is the vision for the company, and how can we be in co-creation with that vision for our own lives and for the business? What does it want to be in the world? What kind of change can we impact? And then each business division, what could it be in the world? What does it want to be? And each person on the team, what are their professional goals and also their personal goals, and how do their own belief systems and history show up in the workplace, and how can we really support and uplift their personal and professional growth, because there's so much overlap. So I do a bit of coaching in that way on the team, and in that way just in the business as a whole. How are we tethered? How are our mindsets limiting us? How can we break through those? What can we look at differently? And that's in addition to the kind of KPIs and finance meetings and tech stack and marketing campaigns, tracking all of the traditional stuff that you would expect.
So brilliant move, if I do say so, to bring someone on to lead the people who has a coaching background, who's actually wired and lit up to nourish people. And that's been a big cultural shift we've made in this new chapter. Is we've been really hiring for the person foremost. The role is actually secondary. Because my experience is when you are hiring people, it's 50-50. They're going to work out. It doesn't matter how many personality tests you put someone through. It doesn't matter how many times you interview them. Better to bring people on in part-time capacities or specific projects with really clear deliverables. Deliver all this, we'll see where we are. Not, we'll see if we still like each other at the end of 3 months. Dana came on part-time. Dana's title now is leadership program manager, certainly moving towards director level and all great things. Dana loves numbers. I love numbers. Dana, do you want to talk about what you're doing?
Oh, I have so many plans. I'm building a business plan for the leadership side of the business, the leadership pillar. Right now, we're so excited to share later on in this call about our new heart-centered mastermind, but we want to do a nice little deep dive into heart-centered leadership program and enhance it further. I'm sure many of you have heard now that we're going to be bringing back Desire Map Facilitator Program and Firestarter Sessions Facilitator Program. I'm going to help with that. But really, I just see there being huge opportunities in bringing Danielle's work into the world, especially in corporate, having come from that side of in my former life, having come from that. I really see some huge opportunities to get to the people that need this work. And so we're going to be looking at building out corporate design programs to help bring heart-centered leadership into the workplace. You don't just have to be an entrepreneur, but we can also provide programming that are going to help you run your own business and take it all the way. So excited. So many different opportunities. And I love spreadsheets. I love the business planning. It just kind of brings some grounding to that beautiful heady work that we work on.
We brought on a full-time writer. She's just ramping up into full-time. So her title is writer and editorial coordinator. I feel honor bound to say anything that's in my words, I wrote. No one is ghost writing philosophy and metaphysical stuff, but the marketing, the curation, pulling bundles of packages together. So Renee is our longest standing employee currently in this hemisphere. Renee is our community and social manager and content assistant. Renee is a great example of dancing until everybody finds the right spot. I've known Renee for a while because Renee was part of the Desire Map facilitator community and came with us into Heart-Centered Land. And when Renee and I was like, hey, do you want to come and do some stuff with us? And Renee said, I just want to love people. I just want to love people. That's the kind of person you want being community manager. Renee has these other skill sets, this capacity to listen and pull out great chunks of content. So Renee's role, in addition to community, so don't keep anybody pegged if you really see them bursting at the seams with another form of genius. I had heard last year sometime Gary Vaynerchuk say, every company in this digital age should have one person dedicated on a team for repurposing content. And after 10 years and lots of gold that can be restitched and repositioned, we have a person who is not full-time, but that's a big part of her job, is Renee's job. Just mind the things. So I'm in a heart-centered class. Renee is keeping timestamps saying, ooh, those 2 minutes there, that could be a podcast. That could be a YouTube video. Repurpose, repurpose, repurpose. Redundancy is a beautiful thing. You want to have your stuff on all platforms, or be clear on the platforms you want them. We're in the mode of all platforms now. I don't feel the need for digital simplicity. I'm all for digital complexity right now for reach. We have another writer, Project Basis, who is going to help us with particular courses. I really want to have, I've always dreamt of stringer writers. This is a project, you go deep. So more than just helping us co-create a course or a program, while that person is doing that, they are also creating the marketing campaign. So it's not like you have, R&D, research and development, not talking to marketing. The person who's creating it while the writing is going, ooh, that is the opening one-liner for the sales page. It's very efficient, great way to do it. We brought on another writer to just focus on heart-centered leadership community. We're going to be starting a newsletter called Centered. Our working tagline right now is ideas and strategies, or insight and strategies for conscious business and careering. Centered will come out on Sundays. We went through a great debate about when's the best time to deliver a newsletter content that's business oriented. Smart business people are getting ready for the week on Sunday. So we're going to send it out on Sundays. And I want it to feel like heart-centered, useful atomic habits. And everything we're doing now is open to anybody in the world who wants to know more about heart-centered leadership. Hey, I'm just jumping in to tell you that I'm going to be having an event going much, much deeper into the structure of all these changes. It's open to the public. It's called Business Unfurled. It's a webinar. It's going to be on Thursday, November 9th. And if you head to daniellelaporte.com/business unfurled, you'll get all the details. It's one of the things I've been most excited about to offer to the world in the longest time. We've had a podcast and audio producer for 5 years, Kelly in Seattle. Actually, if anybody's interested in starting their own podcast, you should go get our virtual business retreat offering. It's in the shop. It's just about starting a podcast. It's Kelly just gives us this download on this is how you position things. This is where you post. It's really great. We have a production and tech director. Emma, can you explain what Elizabeth does?
Yeah. Elizabeth is in charge of making sure that everything we make gets delivered to everyone we make it for in an efficient way that's user-friendly, that's intuitive to navigate, that makes sure that the beautiful things that Danielle and the team are creating and putting out gets in your hands and gets used.
Air traffic controller with heart. Yeah, essential. And somebody, who's got the link? And is this launching on the 29th or the 1st? Yeah. We have a proofreader who's been with us for 10 years. We hired a team executive assistant. Brilliant move. This is one of the first women after Emma came on board. This was Emma's idea. Why don't we hire someone to just deal with everybody's calendar? Oh my gosh. You mean we're not saying, can you make it in what time zone? And is everybody available and she can't? Yeah, just one person who's wrangling all the cats and is looking after some tech. Really brilliant move. And she is born to support. We have hired a marketing manager to look at setting up this marketing ecosystem where there's a pace and there's cohesion. Is this product launch talking to this product launch? When we're not launching something, how are we serving our people? How are we speaking and showing up on all the different platforms? How does YouTube talk to Instagram? We are about to engage with an ad sales person. We have done Facebook ads in the past, mostly around the Desire Map day planner system. So when we had hard goods, but almost all of our growth is organic. So I don't run ads to grow our subscriber list. I don't run ads to go get people to listen to the podcast. And we're going to do that now. We hired a design agency. It's a deep breath for me because that's like a real investment and it's one of the smartest things we have ever done. Yeah. And then we have an operations manager who's been with me for 10 years. And she started as a VA all that time ago and just grew and grew and grew. And then we have a full-time customer service support person. Everybody knows Jason. He's actually a person most people in the public talk to me about. Like, I can go do a gig and they're like, I love Jason. I'm like, I know, he's amazing. All right, so let me talk to you about the biggest business move. So I think one of the boldest things I did was, I think this was 4 years ago, where I had been coming to some greater awareness that the guiding question for my life was not how do I want to feel, it was what do I want to embody. And I got clear that Desire Map had to evolve. And I still stand by it. Desire Map is part of people's awakening process. Get clear, your feelings matter. Get clear on how you want to feel, but don't stop there. Go into what's the higher state of consciousness? What's the virtue that you want to embody? And without any preparation or any warning, much like in a meeting like this, I let our Desire Map facilitator community know that everything was going to change and that we were going to rebrand under the heart-centered ideology. And I didn't know what that meant. And I didn't have new curriculum, but I knew I had it in me. And I hoped they would come to the future with me. And then I asked them to trust me. I was explicit about it. Please trust me. This is where we're going. And almost everybody came out of, I think we had 400-ish facilitators at the time. And lots of them got involved in the transition, and we built out part of this curriculum, and we worked with another consultancy, and that is the leadership curriculum that we have now. This is what happens when you have a licensing model. Jane buys a license for $2,000, and then life happens. And Jane's mother gets sick, or there's big, weird world health things that happen, and Jane gets distracted. And then the 12 months goes by, and she hasn't used the curriculum, certainly hasn't stood up an independent business or worked it into her coaching or yoga or whatever she's doing. And it's time for her renewal fee. And so Jane feels not successful, doesn't maybe have the money for the renewal fee. And why would she renew if she hasn't used it? There's no proof of concept for her personally. And then we lose her. And then I lose one person in the world who wants to bring heart-centered energy to the workplace or to their community. So it started to feel really restrictive to me. And I don't want anybody to feel like they don't have the opportunity, endless opportunities to be successful with what they've invested in, like under our umbrella. So there was that. It wasn't working for me. I also know that, of course, human nature, people are going to license your stuff and not renew and kind of go out of bounds with it. And I just think, okay. I mean, it's not great business, but really, I got to go back to why we exist, which is to support people to live heart-centered lives and be heart-centered leaders, to alleviate suffering and amplify joy. Why would I want one less person doing that? So there's that. The other thing with a licensing model is the expectations that come from people. So when people are invested to that degree, there is a very unspoken, but also very spoken of like, will you please help me build my business? And I'm clear that I love entrepreneurship. I love the game of publishing. If you saw my astrological chart, I mean, it's just all Gemini, Virgo. I am meant to just communicate, systematize, and help people heal. Like this is it. But my thrust is I am not in the business of helping people grow their business. There are other people who live for that. Their astrological chart is built for that. And they do it way better than I could ever do it. So we're going to keep helping people build their businesses, but it's not going to be my everything. And with the out of love, wanting to serve everybody in our empowerment hours, when facilitators would show up and want to know about algorithm and list building, we would get into all of that. We're going to silo that kind of stuff. And what I'm really clear I'm here for is all the other things I just said, which is I want us to go deeper. This is really part of my unfurling is I am not holding back anymore on my metaphysical perspective. I am not holding back on my opinions about the dearth and the power of business and commerce to damage and to heal. So I'm here for all of that. So we're going to be having conversations and bringing in other experts and building more curriculum and more materials and tools for everybody to use that are all about you being more engaged listeners, how to lead when your nervous system is fried, how to help regulate other people's nervous system, to like really to help you be centered, self and community rejuvenating leaders. If I can just help you regulate your nervous system and be a more excellent listener and embody loving kindness wherever you go, I feel that will change corporate. So we're not going to be so much building expertise about how to change your business structure. But if I can help you uplift everybody on your team, we're a success. Abundance, prosperity, wisdom. So there is no more licensing model for the Heart-Centered Leadership Program. What does that mean? It means a lot of awesome things. It means that everybody who came in and purchased that curriculum, a license, owns that content for life. It's yours. Use it however you see fit in good conscience with goodwill. I want to support you to use it far and wide. Use a little piece of it. Credit me, don't credit me. Make it the center of your business. There's all sorts of ways to play with it. You run, you got it. We will be going back to invite all of our Desire Map facilitators. I mean, I think that's about 2,000 people at one point that have gone through that. So that means that there'll be no more annual renewal fee. Instead, what we're doing to support everybody and keep this community tight together is we're starting a heart-centered mastermind. We have a leadership community that we are supporting. So with this new way of working, have the curriculum, run, do your work. If you want to be in the mastermind and stay and go deeper and get more training, and we'll be having jam sessions with myself 4 to 6 times a year, with Emma, with Dana, and then I'm bringing in all my genius friends and experts that we all would love to have access to talk about relationship building, listening skills, team building, heart-centered ways of running a business, regulating our nervous system. The avatar, the vision we have, the perspective we have on everybody in this space is everybody here is a way shower. This was another reason to let go of the licensing model. It created a barrier for entry. I know that people thought, well, I'm not a coach. This isn't for me. I'm not a facilitator. This isn't for me. Yeah, but you're a way shower, right? You have a community. You're having people in your living room. You're an aspiring influencer. You're working with some group on Zoom. You want to help people alleviate their suffering. You want to be part of the new earth. This is for you. You will have the mastermind will have access to the know-how of the whole team. So we'll have our mastermind meetings once a month, kind of high level stuff. Then there will be monthly live Q&A sessions with Team Danielle. We will have regular office hours because, good customer service is our love language. And then everybody who's in the mastermind, I feel this is like super big and juicy. You also become part of the Heart-Centered membership. So that Heart-Centered membership with the yearly subscription to that and the value of everything that's in the membership portal, we've got 50 playlists for mantras and Danielle DJ things and meditations, kind of choose your own journey. That's like a lot of value, and it's all bundled into the mastermind. We'll continue with a private virtual community, but the community, actually, Dana, can you confirm this? We're going to transfer the leadership community from Facebook onto Kajabi, right?
Yeah, so the way that that's going to run is going to be really seamless. If you are a Heart-Centered Leadership Program member, and you will automatically roll into the mastermind, you'll maintain your curriculum access, but we'll basically turn the switch on October 1, which will allow it to show up on your dashboard in Kajabi. We'll do some recurring messages on the Facebook group that we will be sunsetting it at a certain point, but you'll automatically get access to the Kajabi community, and there'll be some communications going out in your emails where we tell you how to make the best use of that space.
Dana, can you explain to everybody why we made that decision? Because I know lots of people have memberships and we're probably all on Facebook with our communities. And why do we get to this?
Well, a few different reasons. Some of our posts were only getting, 20 people reached, which we don't want to be arguing with the Facebook algorithm to try and get to our community. People are going onto Facebook for a bunch of different reasons. There's a lot of noise on there and a lot of distractions and other reasons that people are on Facebook that isn't necessarily to enjoy that community to its fullest. But also we've heard from a lot of people saying they're tired of Facebook and they don't want to be on there anymore. So we're hoping to kind of have all of the juicy goodness around the mastermind in one space. So you can access it from the Kajabi app on your phone. You can get your trainings, you can watch the classes, you can engage in the Kajabi community, you'll get notifications in the method of your preference. It'll help us go a lot deeper. We can have subgroups, we can do sprints together, we can align mentors with mentees, we can really go a lot deeper than we've been able to in Facebook in the past. We're really looking forward to it.
Everybody here, building communities, you want to own your list. You want to have the most direct communication as possible with the people you are serving. So for us, that means, list building, traditional, and Kajabi. And it's all still accessible on your device, right? On your phone. So, okay. And then a leadership summit. So mark the date, February 1st. It's going to be 3 days. So this is replacing, typically we'd be having a leadership retreat virtually in October. In February, we'll do a summit that will also be open to the public, that will be bringing other people in. It's not in person. We will get in person one day. It's actually part of the business plan. And then Dana mentioned that Desire Map and Firestarter sessions content is returning. So let me tell you what that means. And this is part of the unfurling. The last retreat we did, I asked people just casually, I was like, hey, is anybody still using the Desire Map content, even though we phased it out? And the hands were like this. They slowly went up. I was like, what? I'm totally fine with it. It's cool. Do what you got to do. It's good stuff. But I had no idea. Like, so many people are still using Desire Map. Here's the plan. To be in integrity, I need to evolve that content. And to build a stronger business, I need to bridge the Desire Map content into heart-centered. I feel like Desire Map for people may be the entry point. Get clear on how you want to feel. Start looking at what's in the basement of your psyche. And then you become more heart-centered and it's more aspirational. But basically, heart-centered living is you learn to desire higher, right? But I want to meet people where they're at, and it's still beautiful content. And I still think often about how it is that I want to feel and base some of my decisions on that. This has been a great lesson in not closing the door, not scrapping things, collaborating with the people that you are serving, and not being too black and white Virgo. Everything's got to be clean. I love sunsetting things. I love burning things down. I love discontinuing. I just love when things are over. And I'm not going to do that with Desire Map. Besides, like 400,000 people have been through that process. There's something to it. So we're going to go through a creative exploration of how we can evolve that. And then the vision is everyone's going to come, you'll under this umbrella of heart-centered leadership, there will be, here's all these practices that are heart-centered programming. Here's Desire Map. And here's Firestarter sessions. We're going to be launching a meditation facilitation program. So currently with VS and I have created, there's about a dozen meditations and visualizations in the shop. There's about 20 more that have just been waiting for me to have a team to help get them out the door. I am not a Buddhist. I have not taken vows. I do not do Vipassana retreats. I do not come from a meditation lineage. I work with an energy healer to create accessible, esoterically solid, verified, nature, light frequency oriented visualizations, essentially, that anybody can facilitate. Why would I not want those out there? It's sacred, but it's not precious. So any one of us here could get on a Zoom for free or for $20 every new moon or one Sunday a month and guide people through the inner child visualization. So we're going to set up a program for people to do that because there are some things you should know and don't know when it's going to launch, but in the next 12 months. So let's talk about mastermind pricing and structure and everything. The mastermind pricing. So this includes your membership to the Heart Centered, which is a $3,500 value. So the mastermind is only going to be $75 a month. Boom. This is not luxury pricing, right? I'm not into it. Or you can pay $225 for a quarter, or of course, we build in a savings. It's $900 for a year. Renewals going forward. Dana, can you explain this? Because I know even just your way is going to be more descriptive and impeccable than mine. Dana?
Renewals going forward. Okay. So for everyone who is currently in the Heart-Centered Leadership Program, there are sort of two different subgroups in there. The first group is those who have been in for essentially over a year. You've paid for your initial curriculum and now you're just rolling into your annual licensing fees. The licensing fee is going away. You're automatically rolled into the mastermind at the mastermind rates and at the mastermind payment schedule the one that you're already on for Heart-Centered Leadership Program. So if you're on monthly, it'll now roll to $75 a month. If you're on quarterly, it'll be $225 every 3 months. And then annually is $900 a year. Most people will see a reduction in their payments to continue to stay as part of the mastermind. If you're happy with the curriculum and you just want to stay with the curriculum, just let us know and we can pull you out of the mastermind. But we're just going to automatically roll everyone into it for a seamless transition. So you're getting all the goodness that we're offering. And so if you've joined in the last year and you haven't finished paying for the curriculum yet, that initial year of payments before you roll into your annual licensing fees, you'll finish that out. So finish that first year of payments. And once the curriculum is paid in full, you own it, run with it, go. And we will automatically roll you into the mastermind prices at that point. If you pay for your first year of Heart-Centered Leadership Program, to summarize, you own it. If you're in it right now, you will own it when you finish paying for it. And we'd love for you to join us in the mastermind.
So let's hover up and get into some questions. So Reno, what was holding me back previously? My own shadow, my own ego, my own way of playing small. And that way has me feel that it's a no-win. It's this bind of either like I'm too demanding or I'm not asking for enough. And that's the role of the ego. Like it's always having you striving. And what I've really seen and experienced in this last couple months is all of these things that I suppressed or just didn't jive with like the old configuration. They were like fantasies, like, I have this business fantasy where we operate like a newspaper and we have stringers of writers who focus deeply on projects and they curate content and they write the marketing copy because they're in it. And that was wackadoodle in the old way. And now it's kind of obviously genius. And old way was you can't hire people based on, their enthusiasm. I mean, of course, skill is you got to get you in the door, but don't want to be too much moving around of people. Well, that's actually how you get a dance troupe instead of factory workers is everybody moves around according to everybody's skills and isms and light and shadow and all that. So I was just playing small. One thing that happened after I got clear and really I think it's important. Like I made an audible declaration. I am going to be an eccentric creative. I'm going to double down on all things heart-centered. That was my message to everybody. Within days of that, like this really fantastic literary agent reached out to me, like just really beautiful surprise things started happening. Hey, I hear you don't have an agent. And like all these doors, it's more than doors. They're just like someone sent in a car for expansion. So like you shift your energy internally, and we all know how this works. This is manifestation 101. You begin to believe it and embody it, and you will magnetize different people to you and opportunities. And I encourage everybody when you up level your vision for your life and your work in the world, leave lots of room for not having it figured out. Lots of room for surprise. Like, don't grip too tightly how things are going to show up for you. Just stay focused on, this is really desire higher, right? So my prayer every day is the prayer I offered at the beginning of our time together. Infinite blessings for infinite beings, for infinity. And then I have some specific visions that I work with. And then I got to let it go. Like you offer it up. You offer your visions up to life, like you are placing them on an altar. And the life force itself is going to come and take those offerings off that altar. You don't have a vision and then keep worrying about it throughout the day and keep finessing it throughout the day, because that's you pulling it back, pulling the energy down, pulling it down. Yeah, just offer it up, let it float, and you go do your job. And this is why it's so important as heart-centered leaders to have some kind of practice, whatever you resonate with. You can be doing your Vipassana, you could be reading biblical scripture every morning, but something where at the beginning of our day, we are still. So we set our psyche and our heart. I mean, the heart's always open, but you set your psyche at the channel of receptivity. So I get myself dialed in the morning, and then I do not second guess one decision I make during the day. I don't pray during the day. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm in prayer all the time, but I don't say, should I hire this person? What should I say? What's the next product? I dialed in and, I just had a thought at noon. This is the right thought. We'll find out tomorrow if it's the right thought or not, but there's no second guessing once you get your skates on, you get your light skates on in the morning, you just glide. Ashley is asking, will the curriculum be removed or will it stay up? It will stay up. The curriculum will be developed and the pricing will change. I mean, I'm very clear about the value of this now. If someone wants this curriculum, it's now $1,600. It's not licensing. So $1,600 and then the mastermind. Amy, can we have the planner back, please? Yes. I can say yes to that. I got a new agent and I've decided that the planners need to come back. They need to come back in two forms. They need to come back printed, and publishing is glacial. And then you add the slow pace of the publishing industry onto the calendar, and it takes a long time to get this stuff out. That had me move into another idea, which is, well, how do I get this into people's hands right away? Well, digital, which got me into, you know what we need? We need an app. Wouldn't it be amazing as heart-centered leaders and humans, like you could tap in and you could just be like, okay, I want the inner child thing, or I'm going into this meeting and I want the holding polarization exercise, or oof, what's the love letters exercise, and what's the 3-day format, and what's the 2-day format, and all on your telephone. This is what I can say. A heart-centered day planner methodology is coming. And it will be, you're going to have it on your telephone. Question from Tui Fleming. How focused on leadership is Mastermind going to be? Very. I feel like I'm pretty in tune with heart-centered being practices. I'm looking for the application of heart-centered principles in business. This is such a mindful way of saying this, in ego alive context and nuanced guidance, and in ways that heart-centered practices can transform leadership. Will Mastermind have a core focus on this? Yes, quadruple, 108 times infinite. Yes, that's it. We are focusing on leadership applications for this. Leadership for the leaders. Other questions, any topics while we're here?
Andrea's got one. I can read it for you.
Okay.
What advice do you have for people who are conflicted about using socials for their business? How do you manage this energetically on a day-to-day basis?
So, like, the first layer is like, why does it turn you off? We should all go to relationship counseling with social media. And is this like authority issues, which is usually what gets triggered for me? What stuff in this is this really aggravating in you? Can you heal that to use technology for your betterment? Or is your healing to like walk away and find alternative ways and build different muscles and focus on your list and send postcards and do old school guerrilla marketing things? This is a chapter in Firestarter Sessions called Radiate and State the Facts. It was all about marketing for people who are creeped out by marketing. There's really no neutrality with it. It's like, I love the game, or like, this sucks. I feel like an imposter. I'm too shy, feels creepy, all this stuff. There's usually something under the I don't like marketing thing that has to do with illusions around self-worth, imposter complex. There's some big theme that needs to be healed. My solution for that is you really anchor into why you are here to serve. You really need to know your purpose. You need to know your why. And from that place, from the heart center, that's heart-centered work, by the way. You get into the love that you want to give, that you were designed to distribute, and you own it. You are radiant with it. This is why, dear clients, on Facebook, on Instagram, on this postcard, on my website landing page, this is how I serve you. This is what I have to offer. And then you state the facts. The facts is, I have these qualifications. The facts is, look at these 12 people who all said great testimonial like things about me. The facts is, this is what it costs. The turnoff with marketing is actually an evolutionary impulse, on the other hand, which is none of us want to lie to people. None of us want to be seductive. We don't want to take people for a ride or get them to spend money that they shouldn't be spending. We want to deliver. We actually want to market in authenticity. You can do that. What we've got going on here is a great example of that. Like, we do pay what you choose. There's 3 prices for almost everything that we offer. We were just talking about this. We had a philosophy and customer avatar meeting on the team the other day, and went through, like, these are things we believe in and we don't believe in. And these are things I would never say. And this is how I would phrase this. And from like really microscopic things, like, I would never write copy that said, I can't wait to see you, because I can wait to see you. I'm really excited to see you. I mean, I'm really nuanced and persnickety about all this stuff, but this is my thing. Words are my thing. And we're really clear that, of course, we need to speak to the reason people are showing up for healing. You notice I didn't say pain points, but I know, of course, we're speaking to the pain points. Any marketing course is going to tell you, speak to the pain points and hammer on the pain points, and then offer the solution and make it sound like you're the only person on the planet that has a solution to their problems. And that is shitty. And that is looking down on people. And that is polarizing. That is a superiority complex that is actually based on an inferiority complex. So our languaging is, look, we know you're going through this. We know marketing is a struggle. We know you got to regulate your own nervous system when you're showing up to deal with frazzled people. We get it, because we've been there and we hear it. We have this community we've built. We hear it in there. And we have some tools for you. We have some support. We're here to support you. And then you got to sell your credibility. I've done this, I've done that. This is what people say. Radiate, state the facts.
These are conversations we're going to have in the mastermind. Let's have conversations about, what's your practical business question? What are the questions that you're facing, the decisions you have to make? And then let's actually talk about what's really going on, what you're really navigating. And that'll help you make a much more grounded and heart-centered decision that's going to help you outlast the algorithms and has nothing to do with algorithms, really, at the end of the day. We're excited to keep having these conversations.
All right. We are heading to wrap up. So these are the things you need to know. I would really love all of you to come to the mastermind. Let's continue to grow together. I'm really going to throw down in a webinar called Business Unfurled. So make a note of that. Mastermind details. So if you go to daniellelaporte.com/mastermind, everything you need to see will be there. And let's close with a dedication of merit. We dedicate the merits, all of the goodness, all of the expansion of our togetherness, generated gentleness, ideas aligned with universal mind, dedication to higher service, love, radiance, beauty, wisdom. We dedicate all of this to the awakening of all beings and the healing and the purification of the Greater Mother, our planet Gaia. And we give full faith to this. We know it is so. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, my loves, if you have any interest in being a heart-centered leaders in these times that require us to be so resilient, if you want to go deeper on the behind the scenes and how I've turned all the changes that we've been making and are still underway into sort of a grid for evolution, please consider coming to our Business Unfurled event, daniellelaporte.com/business unfurled, to get more information, to register. I'm super stoked. You're going to meet my team. We've got this structured. You're going to leave with some, I don't know, I could say $10,000 ideas, $100,000 ideas. That's really not what it's about, but it's about getting more focused on how you can be all of yourself in your business and prosper in a way that feels like really aligned with who you are, the joy of service. Thursday, November 9th, everybody is welcome. daniellelaporte.com/business unfurled, and always with love. So glad to have you here. Thank you so much for listening, for feeling, for spreading the word with love.